Why is quadrant 1 of the unit circle so important? Well, if you can memorize quadrant 1, and we know the facts that on the unit circle, x is equal to the cosine of theta, y is equal to sine theta, and the tangent theta is equal to y over x, we can figure out the other exact values on the unit circle. So we're going to remember this saying, all students take calculus. And this is going to help us to determine whether the trig value is positive or negative based on the quadrant. So in quadrant 1, all the trig values are positive. In quadrant 2, S for students means only the sign is positive. In quadrant 3, takes, the T for takes represents the tangent, and only the tangent is positive in quadrant 3. And calculus C, quadrant 4, only the cosine is positive. Okay, let's try an example. Let's say we wanted to find the exact value of the cosine of 150. Well, 150 degrees is in quadrant 2, and it is 30 degrees from the x-axis. And what that distance is, it's called the reference value. So the reference value for 150 degrees would be 30 degrees. That means we're going to use the reference value and the coordinates of the reference value to help us get the cosine of 150. We will determine the sign of our answer, either positive or negative, based on the all students take calculus. So we know 150 degrees is in quadrant 2, and the only value that's positive is the sign in quadrant 2. So that means our answer for cosine of 150 will be a negative value. So that means the cosine of 150 degrees is equal to the opposite of the cosine of 30. Well, the cosine of 30 I have circled is root 3 over 2. So that means that our cosine of 150 will be the opposite of that, which would be negative root 3 over 2, which you can see highlighted in quadrant 2 as its x-coordinate. All right, let's try another example. Let's do the sine of 135 degrees. Again, we're in quadrant 2. If we subtract 180 minus 135, we get the reference value of 45 degrees. So we'll be using the points at 45 degrees to come up with our solution. All right, we know in this case, again, we're in quadrant 2, but this time we're getting the sine value, so the sine is positive in quadrant 2. So our answer will be positive. Since the sine is positive in quadrant 2, the sine of 35 degrees is going to be equivalent to the sine of 45 degrees, and we get that value as square root of 2 over 2. All right, let's find the tangent of 300 degrees. Let's do a value in quadrant 4. So 300 degrees, when we get our reference value, now we're going to use 360 degrees minus 300. Remember, we always want the distance to the x-axis, not the y-axis. So 360 minus 300 is 60. So we're going to be using 60 degrees as our reference angle. So we know in quadrant 4, only the cosine is positive. So that means our answer for the tangent of 300 will be a negative value. Since 300 degrees is in quadrant 4, the tangent of 300 degrees is going to equal the opposite of tangent of 60. So we know that the tangent of theta is equal to y divided by x, so we're going to take our coordinates, root 3 over 2 divided by a half, and if we simplify that, we would get square root of 3. So that means that the tangent of 300 would have to be the opposite of the tangent of 60, so negative square root of 3 would be our answer. All right, let's try a quadrant 3 value. So let's get the sine of 210 degrees. Well, in quadrant 3, 210 degrees is 30 degrees from the x-axis. So in this case here, we're going to go 210 minus 180 to get 30 degrees. Since we know we're in quadrant 3, we know only the tangent is positive in quadrant 3, so we know we're going to have a negative answer for the sine of 210 degrees. So the sine of 210 degrees will equal the opposite of the sine of 30 degrees. Well, we know the sine of 30 degrees is equal to a half, so the opposite of the sine of 30 degrees would equal negative 1/2 as our answer. So understanding your first quadrant values and using reference angles can help you have success with finding exact values using the unit circle. So I hope that video helps. I'm going to put a link in the description on learning that first quadrant. There's a thing called the hand trick, which you can follow that link to help you learn those. So I hope you liked the video. Please like and subscribe. See ya.